Hi everyone, welcome to ONYX Pages. I'm Jerry and I'm here with a video on my top 5 most memorable books in 2017. So I'm just going to get started and tell you a little bit about these 5 books. So the first of the 5 books is Nalo Hopkinson's Falling in Love with Hominids. And this is a collection of short stories by Nalo Hopkinson. And if you followed my channel for at least 5 minutes, you'll know that I adore Nalo Hopkinson. She's an amazing writer and she's a very generous person, and she shares her thoughts with her readers, and she shares her life with her readers, which I think is really great. And so Falling in Love with Hominids is a collection of short stories that Nalo Hopkinson has written, and I think she describes this collection of short stories as sort of an appreciation for the imperfections of the human condition. She is a writer of fantasy, of science fiction, of fabulist fiction, and her fiction is decidedly queer, Caribbean, African-centered, and oftentimes set in Toronto, or in Canada at least. And so that's one of the reasons why I really love her writing. And I really enjoyed this particular read because it showed many different sides of Nalo Hopkinson. It showed her dark humor. There's also a horror short story here, and I'd never read any horror that she's written. She's got an amazing story about a Greek god who comes back down to earth and lives the life of a gay Latin American teenager. It's just wonderful. So I really enjoyed this. So this was one of the 5 top books that I read this year, or most memorable. Another one is Afar. This is by Leila Del Duca and Kit Seaton, and it was edited by Taniga Stotts. And I read this as part of the Get Graphic Readathon. I am new to graphic novels, although I've read a couple now this year, but I still consider myself somebody who's new to graphic novels. And this book was the most memorable because of its absolute sheer breathtaking beauty. The images, I mean, as you can see, I've tabbed many of the pages, but in this book, let me just tell you, we follow Boetima. Boetima is a young woman who is living in the near future sub-Saharan Africa, and she realizes one day, after her parents have left her and her brother to fend for themselves for 3 months while they go off and try to make money shepherding, she realizes that she can time travel. And this story tells us about her experiences as she learns to understand, to control, and to use that power. And as she time travels, the way that the illustrator conveys that time travel to us is that they change the color scheme of the art. And so, for example, when she's in this world, you see a lot of like yellows and reds and browns. But when she's in another, you see lots of purples and beiges. And then there's one where she's green. And it was just such a delight to read. I could totally, here's the green world filled with snake people. Sorry, there's obviously spoilers. I'm not good at not delivering them. So I really loved Afar. I think that it's a standalone. And I'm not sure. I haven't really spent a lot of time trying to figure out if there is a sequel to this, or if Leila Del Duca and Kit Seaton are planning to produce another one of these. But if they are, I will definitely pick it up. So if you are into graphic novels, if you love just beautiful imagery, if you're into time travel, this was a really soft and beautiful kind of young adult Afrofuturist read. I just finished reading this book, and it was a buddy read with Maya of Maya Reads, and this is The Prey of Gods by Nikki Drayden. And if you can see the cover, It's just amazing. Look at the expression on this little girl's face. So this this novel follows 7 characters who live in Port Elizabeth in South Africa. This is a near future South Africa where robots and artificial intelligence are a part of everyday life, where gods have found their way back into cities and live among the people. And so we follow these 7 characters as their plots become one. And there are a number of different kind of conflicts that are going on here. But if you just go by the cover, on the cover we see Namvula. Namvula is, I believe, 7 or 8. And we discover something really magical about her as the story continues. And she learns a lot about herself and learns about her power. And Nikki Drayden does an amazing job of allowing Namvula to be a child, but also allowing her to be a mystical creature of immense power. What I love about this, one of the many things I love about this, is Nikki Drayden's humor. She's a very great writer. She's adept at being able to make us laugh about things that are horrible. She's got a light touch when it comes to the violence here, but she doesn't hold back on the brutality of the relationships between human beings. And we've got a lot of queer characters. We've got a transgender character. We have a transsexual character. We have a romance between 2 young men. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on here, and a really fresh representation of an African futuristic community. So that's the Prey of Gods. So this is World of Wakanda. Roxane Gay collaborated with Ta-Nehisi Coates for this. So this is part of the Black Panther world. And I really enjoyed this. And I did a video about it. What did I enjoy about it? I enjoyed so many things about it. So the first thing is that there were so many women in this comic. Wakanda is a nation, and it's run by Black Panther. And there is a group of warriors, all female warriors, who are required to protect him, but they also have to make themselves available to him if he one day chooses one of them as a wife. And so this story, it has us following these 2 characters, and I forget their names, but they're 2 women warriors. One is a more senior warrior, the other is a recruit, and they fall in love, and they now have to deal with the conflict between their oath as part of this woman warrior group called the Dora Milaje, and the love that they have for each other. So it's an incredible story. It's really beautiful. We're introduced to a couple of different characters, which may lead to some spin-off stories. But if you are like me and you are just chomping at the bit for the Black Panther movie coming out, this is a great story to read. Unfortunately, Marvel has decided to discontinue the World of Wakanda series, and so I don't know that we're going to be seeing any more from this story, but it was a very incredible, memorable read for me. And then finally, number 5 is The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This is the 3rd of the Broken Earth trilogy. I have a lot to say about this story. I haven't been able to put a review together because I think I'm still digesting it, and I finished it in the summertime, and I finished it very, very quickly. So the Broken Earth trilogy follows, there's so many ways to describe this story, but I think that one of the ways that spoke to me most was that there's a mother-daughter relationship a mother is separated from her daughter in a moment of tragedy, and she spends these three books trying to find her. And in doing so, she has to contend with an incredible world that involves magic and the environment and different kinds of communities that are arranged in different political, social, and religious ways. A very intense caste and class system, and there's just a lot going on in this world. But N.K. Jemisin is a master world builder. This story broke my heart. It was beautiful. It was so well written. And it just really got me thinking about different ways that we can imagine how human beings will have to react to the environmental crises that we are creating. And so just to give you a bit of a premise of how this world is set up, the first book in this trilogy is called The Fifth Season. And the fifth season, it happens at a time where an environmental catastrophe occurs. So in one of the fifth seasons, and they happen every hundreds of years or so on, but let's say like in one fifth season, or one season, sorry, the sun didn't shine for I think 6 months, and so the entire earth was covered in darkness for that time, and people had to sort of figure out what to do. And so when these seasons occur, people change. So the political system that's set up in times of peace no longer can continue because it can't sustain the season. So the political arrangements between people change. The creatures that walk the earth change during a season. So herbivores might become carnivores. They might start reacting in ways that are more based on survival. And the caste system that exists at all times becomes even more rigid and determinative. So if you're born into a caste that's responsible for security, then during the season, that's all that you're able to do. And so the fifth season, obviously, that's the first book in the trilogy. It begins with the season, and all three books take place during a season. Anyway, that might have been a bit convoluted, but as I said, I'm still digesting this book, but it is absolutely wonderful, and I would recommend anything that N.K. Jemisin has written. But if you are new to her work, I would recommend that you try looking at the Broken Earth trilogy. So those are the 5 most memorable reads of 2017. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new to the channel, I would encourage you, if you liked this video and you've watched it to the end, please like it. Please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the little bell so that you can find out when I've uploaded new videos. Also, I really like connecting with people. That's one of the reasons why I started this channel. So please leave a comment in the comment area below, and I will be sure to respond. In any event, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.